Hello, how's it going? I am Sarah Collins, and I'm excited to be here today. Thank you for joining me. Thanks to Lisa and the rest of the crew in Female Disruptors. You ladies all rock, and I'm super proud to be part of this mission. This presentation today will focus on my journey to becoming a Chief Marketing Officer. I am super proud of the work that I've done over the past 15 years and hope that you can learn from some of the tips and tactics that I'll be sharing. So I became CMO about a year ago, and that happened to be right about the same time I became a mom. So I learned a lot about myself, a lot about life, and love to share that with you. So hang on for the ride. This will be about 20 minutes, and feel free to contact me at Sarva Collins if you want to chat. So this is me. I'm Sarah. I'm a marketing leader. I'm also a certified yoga instructor. I use yoga every day if I can, to clear my mind, to open my creativity, and just to pause and take some time for self-care. That's one of the most important things that I've learned over the last year with a big shift in career and becoming a parent. So that'll be a lesson that I will speak to throughout the presentation as well. But I'm excited to meet you. Looking forward to connecting with anybody after the fact if you have any questions or you want to chat. So I'll walk you through my story, and it started at the University of Minnesota. I took a communications program, learned PR, advertising, strategic communications. My favorite class was actually interpersonal communications. I was really into that. Spent 4 years there, and then had a passion project. My senior thesis was on Dave Matthews Band and the Ben & Jerry's campaign, One Sweet World. And doing that campaign actually led me to go become the office manager for Music Matters, who put together that campaign. And that's when I learned about agencies and advertising. So a really good experience. My spirit decided that I needed to be in the sunshine full time. I currently live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which has not very much sunshine. So I moved from Minnesota to Florida, and that is when I met Lisa Beyer. I started my career there, and that was the time when we dove deep into digital and PR and the explosion of that world, where SEO became on the radar. Facebook and Google were really at the top of their game. LinkedIn was launching, Twitter was launching. So we learned a lot in those 3 years. I sadly left the Beyer Group to go back to the cold in Wisconsin, and I worked in the digital space there at a agency called Laughlin Constable for 3.5 years before moving over to another Milwaukee agency called Hanson Dodge, where I was very immersed in content, media, and branding. This whole journey has been a very digital experience for me, and I would highly recommend anybody looking into getting into marketing, PR, advertising, that you hone in on your digital skills, whether that be understanding Google Analytics, knowing how to read data, spending a lot of time in Excel. It's really a good balance point for when you are using your creative mind. Then I was lucky enough to go back to the Beyer Group in what I call the podcast revolution, where I spent about 2 years working with clients there, bringing them along the digital journey and helping their maturity levels in the digital space, including launching a couple podcasts. So really proud of the work that Lisa has done to bring forward podcasts and into the space, and have learned a lot there. And now it's been a year since I've been at LMN. So I went client side, chief marketing officer. I started with a team of 4 in marketing. I now have 13. So it's been a big journey there. The organization has more than doubled in size since I started. So a lot of learnings and a lot of time for reflection and grace and space. So my roadmap, before I was hired, I took a month off, and I strongly recommend that to anybody if you're able. Take time with your family, give yourself some time to be just not in a work environment. Allow yourself time to travel, or just be home and focus yourself on you. And so in that time, I couldn't help but work. So I did put together a roadmap for myself. I put together 30, 60, 90 days. And as I'll show you, we're going to kind of walk through the 30, 60, 90 step by step here. What it really turned into was more like a year. And I'm one of those people that like to put a plan together and make it happen. Plans don't always come to life. And I think that's the biggest takeaway here, is just understanding that there are times where you will have strong confidence that you'll be able to accomplish a goal within a certain amount of time. And as long as you just give yourself the grace to open up your mind and say, yes, I can take longer, and here's why. That's my big takeaway from what I did, because it was there was so much going on, coming new into an organization where I needed to be able to take on more and kind of put things aside and leave them there and be comfortable with that. So 30 days. Within the first 4 weeks of my job, becoming CMO, I wanted to announce internally and externally, I had made this move. I wanted to do one-on-ones with everybody in the organization at a senior level. And I really spent the first 2 weeks just getting to know people. I sat back and said, okay, what do I need to know? What can you tell me? Here's a little bit about me. I talked about work style, communication preferences, aspirations. And that human aspect is such an important part of why I've had so much success in the organization. And I strongly recommend that to anyone that is looking to get into a new role. Is, the work, it does come secondary. The people come first. I needed to make sure that I could get access to everything. Documentation, it takes a long time in the digital environment to get everything buttoned up and organized, and understanding, okay, what do I need to get access to? What can I wait on? Org chart. So looking at the team, understanding their roles, this kind of aligns to that people message that I mentioned before, and seeing where do people fit. From there, I looked at email. I knew email was a big opportunity for the brand to grow our revenue, to connect with our customers. And in 30 days, I literally just wanted to get up to speed with the platform. Email had been a piece of the pie that I hadn't been very close to in recent years. So I wanted to take the time to learn that. Then I had Systems 101. So the company that I work for had a lot of systems that I had never used before. And considering myself a digital native and somebody that can pick up on platforms pretty easy, I was like, oh, this is going to be no problem. I'm going to learn these platforms that I never used before. Ended up hiring consultants and bringing some people in to help me get up to speed and understand what I was working through. So that that didn't end up in that 30-day period. That was much longer than that. After that, I worked through our project management system called Monday.com, made sure it was fully implemented across the organization. I was hired in November last year. I wanted to, by the end of the month, have a marketing plan for 2021. Looked at budget, looked at events, looked at the whole ecosystem, and put together that plan and presented it to the CEO. Then lastly, I wanted to do a competitive analysis, looking at the industry and beyond. Moving to 60 days, I said, okay, after I get 30 days behind me, I feel like I'm going to have a good understanding of everybody in the organization, all the tools and processes, what I need to do to bring us to the next level. I said, okay, at 60 days, I want to work on our brand. I need to do a stakeholder workshop and put together a roadmap for how we evolve our brand. Wanted to look at customer and consumer research to really understand our target market. I wanted to look through additional campaign tactics for 2021, because what we had done in our plan was similar to what we had done in the past. So I was looking for new ideas. Then I was looking at more incremental tools. So how can I understand the data more and see the full funnel from top to bottom all the way through closed won in our customer journey. And that ties very closely to the plan for data accuracy, which we are still working through. There was a big mismatch of data when I began working here, and looked to still iron out some of those kinks. So B2BMA was a platform to help with that. It's a Salesforce platform. Then I wanted to give myself 60 days to really understand the team and go, okay, who's accountable for what? Should I align them differently to what they should be doing, and kind of reassess their roles? Then looking at 90 days, I said, okay, how about we get to the place where we know what our campaigns are going to be, we unveil some new creative, and we go through that campaign planning process. I wanted to walk through additional layers of the customer journey and make sure that our brand was present throughout each, and look at our landing pages. So we have a ton of digital footprint now, and we bring in new leads through different landing pages. Well, we didn't have a great environment for that. So wanted to match landing pages to personas so that the content was relevant to what they were seeing and what is most important to them in their lives in that moment. That really aligns well to the ad strategy by persona too. There's they come hand in hand, right? Like if the ad that you see in the platform mirrors what you see on the landing page, that's a really good customer experience. So I had to learn this mantra. I love it. It has alliteration in it: do, delegate, and ditch. But it still rings really true for me because I'm very much a doer. I like to take things on myself and get them finished. That only works for certain pieces of the puzzle. Most of it needs to be delegated and worked through the other experts of your team, and then you work on it together. Finally, ditch. There's so many options to do so many things, and not all of them are that important. So that comes with experience and just good intuition of understanding, okay, we can put this aside, or we can do this another time, or never. So I mentioned before how there was a plan and there was reality. I feel like I should have one of those memes of how it was planned and how it's going, but I'm not really a good meme maker, so I didn't pull that together here. I just thought it was important to share how, there was a plan. We tried to follow it. The check marks that you see on the screen show what was all done within the time that they were planned to be done. So about 50% of it, which isn't bad. It's just really clear that, once I got 30 days in, things shifted, and I had to be okay with that, and it didn't necessarily go by the plan that I had put together, but I opened my mind to other ideas and new things that became possible and focused my energy there. So the learnings that I want to share, coming out of this time, I've been CMO for a year, been mom for 2 years. Start with people, understand the culture, communication preferences. I literally put together a communication flow that says, when we speak to each other, we use Slack first at work. If that's just our day-to-days in Slack. When we speak to other departments, we use email. When we speak to each other, just as the marketing team, and something is urgent where it can't wait in Slack. And if I look at my Slack now, I've got too many notifications. And if I look at my text, I've got much fewer. So I say to people, if you have something that's urgent, meaning this needs to be handled now, call or text. So laying those guidelines out for the team has really helped. And I communicate my preferences to other teams as well, so that it's clear the best way to get in contact with me. Thinking about mentorship, that's the core of any role, right? Like, you go to work because you want to connect with people, you want to grow your career, you want to be able to advance, and mentorship happens at every level. It comes through friendship, it comes through kindness, it comes through thoughtfulness, it comes through education. So putting together a plan that helps you understand, okay, I can connect with these people in this way, and everybody's going to be different. Learning the systems is second here. Just doing your best to uncover the internal flow. How does this organization work? What can take me from A to B most efficiently and in a way that's going to resonate with everybody else? If you find out that there are things happening that don't work for your style, just communicate it and ditch it. Share the why, share your reason, and take it away. I mentioned bringing in experts to help earlier too. This is really important. Building your network, understanding who can I tap into to help me with this and help educate me so that I know how to speak to it or I know how to use it. I tap into experts very, very regularly for this. Third is trust your ideas. And here is a very significant part of confidence and forward thinking and boldness. You have to know your worth. So spend the time to take yourself and what you're great at, what you're good at, and just love it and be so proud of it and write it down, put it on a notepad, write a note to yourself, just breathe that in every day and know that it's not always going to be something everybody loves or agrees with, but that's what's true to you and that's what matters most. Believing the data is one of those super important elements of marketing and business, knowing that you trust what is happening underneath your guidance and taking it forward to the rest of the organization. Be very strong, be very confident, and understand that, yes, this is the right way to take this forward. There's so much testing in marketing. There's so much, there are a lot of shiny objects. And so you have to have a strong gut feeling and intuition that the data is always right. And yes, we might want to try something new, but we need to assign maybe a smaller percentage of budget to that and then have an end date for when we're going to cut it off. And then keep a list. Know what you need to do, know what's priority. And if a list isn't your jam, then trust your gut and know that you can prioritize based on your own time what you have to do that day, that week, that month, and down the road. I already mentioned self-care time. No joke. I block my calendar. I say in the morning until 8:30, I'm with my daughter. And from 4:30 in the evening, I'm with my daughter. I take an hour during the day to go for a walk. Oftentimes I'll have to be on a call during that walk, but I get out of the house and I walk. I work at home. So I need that time to exit the building. And I think when we are in a work from home environment, it's tough. So that's my number one tip, is just block your calendar, and you're in charge of your calendar. If people put meetings on your calendar over your block time, you can't make it. That's just how it goes. Communicate that. Be honest, be transparent, be straightforward, and say this is why this is there. And that'll be very clear to everybody that works for you. And then lastly, just choose you first. Becoming a parent, having others in your life that you care about and love, sometimes you can put too much energy into those buckets. And so knowing what you want and need and putting yourself first always is the way to go. Here's a really cute picture of my baby, my husband, and me with dark hair. I just want you guys to really feel that you can go with the flow and you can take things as they come and know that, okay, if something is rising up that doesn't feel right, I can take my time with it. I don't have to respond now. I don't have to respond tomorrow. I can go with the flow that I put forward because I trust myself. I trust my abilities to make sound decisions, and I have great intuition. So we're all just here trying to be the best we can be. And sometimes things don't work. So have grace and understand that it might not be today as your day, but we're all just here to enjoy the ride. So I would really love to connect with y'all. I put up here on my last slide just a connection. So if you want to chat with me on Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter, I'm at Sarva Collins. I think that's Facebook too, but my preference would be Twitter or LinkedIn. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day and great sessions. I'm so proud to be here with everybody else and looking forward to connecting with you. Thank you.